What is up, guys? Ben Ramsey here. So today we're going to be covering everything that just took place at DC Fandome, everything that was announced, everything that was revealed, shown. We're going to go over the whole lot of it. So without further ado, I've got a long list of stuff that they unveiled, that they showed off for the first time. We got a lot of reveals and a lot of stuff to talk about. So I'm going to try and limit myself to maybe, a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes max on each subject just for this video. Because, this video could go on for a good hour if I really wanted it to, but I don't want to I don't want to bore you guys to death with just my fandom just leaking out all in this video. But anywho, let's crack things off with the first thing that they showed. So Wonder Woman 1984, that was the first ever panel that they showed during this whole DC Fandome thing. And I mean, what a way to kick things off. I mean, honestly, director Patty Jenkins, is you can tell that she's had a blast making this film, along with the entire cast. Gal Gadot shines as always. Whenever she's, whether it's promoting Wonder Woman or playing Wonder Woman, you can tell she absolutely loves this character. And the cast are they just all seem amazing. What's it? Chris Pine's back as Steve Trevor. They got Kristen Wiig as Cheetah, which, by the way, Cheetah looks amazing. I was honestly scared, because right until the very end of the trailer you see the full-on CGI full fur Cheetah, which we know from the comics. And for me, who grew up in the animated series with Justice League in that, I was wondering whether they were going to go full Cheetah or if she was just going to wear sort of the Cheetah jacket like you see earlier in the trailer. But no. And also, with Cats kind of bombing and everyone absolutely hating on Cats' CGI earlier this year, it was like, oh god, are DC really gonna are they gonna backtrack on Cheetah now in Wonder Woman? But no, they made it comic accurate, and I love it. It looks amazing. To be fair, it is shot all at night, so maybe the CG does look a bit shoddy during the day, but I mean, hey, it looks good from what I've seen. And I mean, they're still working on it. I mean, I think this film comes out in October, so we haven't actually got that long to wait. So I'm actually really looking forward to 1984. I love the first Wonder Woman film. Can't wait for this. Patty Jenkins, I think, is a really great director, and I think that the cast and the crew and the director, they've all nailed it this time. It just looks amazing. Moving on, Gotham Knights video game. So yes, this is Warner Brothers Montreal's rumored new Batman game. Well, it's kind of a Batman game. Trailer starts out, Bruce Wayne's like, oh, if you're seeing this, I'm dead. And I was like, oh shit, it's like an actual sequel to Batman Arkham Knight. Wow, I was not expecting this, because we all thought it was going to be a sequel to Origins. But no, all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's a sequel to Arkham Knight. But then as the trailer goes on, you see it's not a sequel. It's kind of like a reboot, kind of soft reboot, kind of. Because it's like Batwoman's, or not Batwoman, Batgirl, sorry, Barbara Gordon. She's all of a sudden, she's running around in the Batgirl suit. And, obviously anyone who's played the Arkham games knows that straight from Arkham Asylum to Arkham Knight, Barbara Gordon's been stuck in a wheelchair, so this can't be in the same universe as the Arkham games, surely. But I mean, who knows? I mean, Origins was kind of loosely in the Arkham franchise, but I don't think they ever, said it was actually in canon with the other Arkham games, because it's a different developer. But anywho, enough about the story-wise. So it's kind of we're not quite sure yet if it's a sequel to Arkham Knight or if Montreal are doing their own thing. We're not sure. But yeah, the gameplay-wise, though, obviously you can play as Red Hood, I think Damian Wayne Robin, Nightwing, and then Batgirl. And, I think this game, they didn't really go into specifics. They did show a 7-minute gameplay demo, which I thought, it looked okay, but they've changed the whole gameplay. It's not your typical Batman Arkham game. They've gone for more of the sort of Square Enix Avengers gameplay, where it's very, very button mash, jump out the way, kind of gameplay. Because I've been playing the Avengers beta this past weekend. That's another video that will be coming out very soon, guys, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I have not enjoyed the Avengers beta, and basically this looks like it's DC's Avengers, essentially, but with the Bat family. So, not a massive fan of what I've seen, and the graphics don't look amazing, and the gameplay, again, looked like it was suffering from the same thing Avengers does, where the frame rate looked like it was dropping after every couple minutes. So, and it's also coming out next year as well. So, we got a little while to wait on it. They confirmed it's on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. So, I can actually play this game, which is good, unlike the Suicide Squad game, which we'll get to much later on in this video. But overall, Gotham Knights video game, I'll have to see more, but so far, I'm not really sold. It's not really a day one buy for me yet. Anywho, moving on to the next thing, the Suicide Squad. Now, this is the movie, not the game. We'll get to the game later on, but the movie, directed by James Gunn. Again, this movie looks insane. This movie looks like so much fun. This literally, Marvel and Disney are probably kicking themselves now that they let James Gunn go off and do this, because obviously they can't start production on Guardians 3 until he's finished working on this. And this film doesn't come out until October 2021, so, we still got a whole year until this. And we didn't get a trailer, we got a behind the scenes sizzle reel, but it honestly, even before they showed the sizzle reel, the cast were playing like this game, this sort of like trivia quiz, like pub quiz kind of thing, and they were just having so much fun. You could tell the cast enjoyed it, and it's a good cast. It's a good cast. I'm not going to rattle off everyone's names, otherwise, I'll spend a whole minute, and, if you watch the panel, everyone in here, but notable exceptions for me, like Peter Capaldi. Again, I'm a Doctor Who fan, so seeing him there as the Thinker, boom, that's brilliant casting right there. Michael Rooker, obviously, him and James Gunn are best buds, so obviously he's going to be in the film. John Cena is Peacemaker. He just looks like he's crushing it in that role. It looks hilarious, and obviously Margot Robbie's back as Harley Quinn. I recently actually watched Birds of Prey for the first time on digital. Loved that film. Was not expecting it. Hated the trailers for Birds of Prey. Watched the film. Absolutely loved it. Can't get enough of Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. I liked her more there than I did in the 2016 film Suicide Squad. So yeah, good on Margot Robbie and all the talent and crew behind Birds of Prey. And I'm honestly, Suicide Squad, it looks so much fun. It literally just looks like it's the same energy and fun and humour and action as you would see in a Guardians of the Galaxy film, but it's just Suicide Squad. DC would just do Guardians of the Galaxy, but with Suicide Squad. Just do that with our property. And James Gunn was like, here, hold my beer. So yeah, looks fun, looks amazing. Honestly, can't wait. I'm glad they've got some cast coming back, like Viola Davis as Amanda Waller and Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang. I'm glad they haven't just abandoned the original cast. They've got some people back. Will Smith's obviously not in this one, but Will Smith's kind of on a decline in his career at the moment, so I'm kind of glad he's not here as Deadshot, because otherwise I feel like he would try and steal the show, just like he did in the first movie. Anywho, looks great, that's all I've got to say. Flash Season 7, again, I'm not really going to spend too much time talking about this. The Flash, all the CW shows in general, I've kind of stopped watching now, because they've started becoming a bit, formulaic, it's like Freak of the Week, kind of Villain of the Week, kind of. They're still doing that kind of thing, and this, I've just kind of grown out of CW shows now. The only CW show I actually watch now is Batwoman, because I actually genuinely really like that. But yeah, it's because that just wrapped up in the UK recently. But yeah, like that's like the only CW show I watch of the DC shows, or the CW ones. But yeah, Flash Season 7. Pretty much they just showed a trailer for what they shot before COVID shut down, and yeah, it looked like the last few episodes of Season 7. So, it looks alright. Maybe I'll watch it when it comes back. Who knows? We'll have to see. Moving on to an actual DC TV show that I do enjoy, and I've loved both seasons of this show, is Titans. And we got a lot of info about Titans. And there's going to be an extended panel of Titans and Flash Season 7, along with all the other DC shows like Lucifer and Batwoman and Superman and all that, on September 12th. So if you guys wanted more from those shows, we are going to get more. These were just basically the cut down, really short, giving us the announcements, videos, whatever they wanted to showcase, whatever they wanted to sell us this weekend. And then on September 12th, so in 3 weeks time, we'll get to sit down with the cast a bit more and get to talk to them a bit more. But yeah, Titans, we learned that Jason Todd is going to be becoming Red Hood. Finally. Do you know what? It was hinted at in Season 2 that he was going to become it, and at the very end when he's not with the Titans and he, gets on the bike and he cycles off, you're like, oh, he's either going to still be Jason Todd, but just, on his own path. But no, they said he's going to be full on Red Hood, and I'm like, do you know what? Even though it might not be comic accurate, with the Joker supposedly killing him with a crowbar, but do you know what? I feel like he's earned his Red Hood status now after everything that happened in Season 2. So if you haven't watched Titans Season 1 and 2, go and catch up now. They also said Scarecrow was going to be one of the villains in Season 3, which I was totally not expecting. Jonathan Crane apparently is going to be in it. Again, big Batman villain. I love Scarecrow. I love him in the Arkham games. I loved him, in like Batman Begins and the comics and everything. Scarecrow's one of those Batman villains which just, like, if you utilize him well, he can be a really fun character to see on screen, especially with his fear toxin. He's on my top 5 Batman villains list, along with, characters like Joker and Mr. Freeze. And finally, the other character that we got revealed was coming in Season 3 was, of course, Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl. They didn't say if she was going to be Batgirl, if she was going to be Oracle, so we don't know if this is, pre-killing Joke or whatever. But, I mean, Titans has obviously changed up the source material, on other things, so I don't know. But, I mean, if she suits up as Batgirl, brilliant. If she's Oracle, brilliant. I don't mind either way. I think we knew this already. I think they already announced that she was coming to Season 3, so that wasn't too much of a shock. Scarecrow was a bit of a shock, but anyway, yeah. So Titans Season 3, can't wait. I don't know when this is coming out. I think it's going on HBO Max now, rather than DC Universe. But over here in the UK, we don't have HBO Max or DC Universe, so Titans is on Netflix over here. So yeah, I imagine Season 3 will probably just be like the first 2 seasons where it'll be on Netflix over here. Can't wait to watch it. I love Titans. Honestly, it can't come soon enough. Next thing, Black Adam. Now, I was very, very curious with this one because obviously The Rock was really amping it up. It's been in development for apparently 10 years. I have heard some things about Black Adam being in development hell for that long, so I'm glad they acknowledged it. But yeah, it sounds like The Rock's really pumped to do it. And they also revealed that in the film, the JSA, so the Justice Society of America, are going to be in it. So we've got characters like Atom Smasher. We've got Dr. Fate as well, which, again, I grew up on the Justice League, animated series, so I know who characters like Atom Smasher and Dr. Fate are. Dr. Fate, if they can make his effects look like Doctor Strange's in, the Marvel Avengers films and all that, then, I reckon Dr. Fate's going to look really good on screen, especially with a big budget and some big special effects. But I don't know the size of Black Adam's budget. There was also Hawkman as well, and there was another woman character. I can't remember her name right now, because I think she's one of those obscure DC characters, but if I remember, I'll probably look it up and I'll put it in the title in the video. But yeah, I mean, Black Adam, and it sounds like the JSA are going to try and teach him the right path to, pursue injustice, but Black Adam being the anti-hero he is, they pitched it to us so it was like, oh no, he's still going to be the bad guy, and the JSA are going to try and stop him. So yeah, this is really exciting. I'm actually really excited to see where they go with Black Adam, and his origin story of how he started out as a slave, and then he gets the Shazam powers. I'm really interested to see what they do with that. I don't think it's going to be comedic like with the Shazam movie. I think it's going to be dead serious, maybe with some comedic elements with the JSA, but who knows. Again, really looking forward to that. Speaking of Shazam, Shazam 2. Yeah, we got the title, Shazam Fury of the Gods. That panel actually made me crack up. Zachary Levi and the whole cast, honestly, that was a funny, even though it was only a 10-minute panel, it was a really hilarious 10-minute panel. I honestly could not stop laughing. Zachary Levi, honestly, whoever cast him as Shazam, brilliant. The casting director deserves a raise. Shazam 2, honestly, I love the first film. I thought the first film was great. Really good family film as well. For, very rare, a DC film which the whole family can actually sit and watch. I was like, wow, this is great. And it's a Christmas film. So, again, it'll be interesting to see if Black Adam and Shazam 2 do like some sort of crossover or interconnectivity. I know DC don't like to do the thing that Marvel does where they connect all their films. But, I mean, that would be cool, because obviously, Black Adam comes from Shazam, he's one of Shazam's enemies, and he's got the same powers as him, so, yeah, I mean, I think they're trying to work out some sort of crossover film between those two, but who knows, we'll have to see how Black Adam does, box office-wise, along with Shazam 2. Speaking of, so, next panel, we had a very short panel, it's like another 10-minute thing, Ask Harley Quinn. So this is Harley Quinn, voiced by, was it Kaylee Cuoco from Big Bang Theory? Yeah, so this is the Harley Quinn animated series, which was on DC Universe. I love this show. I've seen both seasons of it. I absolutely love the Harley Quinn animated series. I recently got my younger brother to watch it, and he just fell in love with it as well. And honestly, oh my god, my heart was in my mouth for a second, because she was doing like a Q&A. Like, actually, it was an animated Harley Quinn Q&A she was doing. And one of the questions was, what about season 3? And honestly, I got all excited because I was like, oh, here we go, here's the announcement. Because, you know, season 3 hasn't been confirmed yet of that show, which I'm really shocked by. But yeah, she was like, no, if it were up to me, I would, but it's probably up to some executive at HBO Max. And also, we're really cheap to make. So I was like, do you know what? At least they're acknowledging it. Do you know what I mean? And it probably is cheap to make. So, you know, yeah, go on. I mean, honestly, I would be shocked if this show did not get picked up by HBO Max. Because I think HBO Max has got, what? They've got Doom Patrol now. I think they're going to be airing Titans Season 3, like I already mentioned. They're picking up a lot of what DC Universe had and just, you know, dunking it on their service now. So really, please, HBO Max, if you're watching this right now, I know you're probably not, but renew Harley Quinn for Season 3. I love that show. It's honestly, it's amazing, and it's more amazing than I thought it was going to be. Speaking of amazing things, Suicide Squad the game. So Rocksteady, finally, 5 years after launching Batman Arkham Knight, we finally learn what their game is, and it's the Suicide Squad, which, right, they said is in the same universe as the Batman Arkham series. I'm sorry, but that's a load of bollocks, because literally, if it's in the same universe as the Arkham games, then how come Deadshot in Arkham City is white, and in this game, he's black? Like, what? No, they're not in the same universe. I'm sorry, Rocksteady. Maybe you were trying to say they're in the same universe in terms of, like, style of gameplay and fighting, but in terms of story-wise, no, they are very much not in the cinematic universe. No, Suicide Squad the game, they confirmed it's an open world, so just like the Batman Arkham games, like you could explore Gotham, but rather than Gotham this time, it's Metropolis, Brainiac being the big villain, controlling the Justice League. But the title is Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, so it'll be interesting to see what you actually do. Are you actually going to, quote-unquote, kill the Justice League, or are you just going to kill them to the point where they're free from Brainiac's control? I don't know, but either way, I'm excited for this game. However, it is next-gen exclusive, so it's only on PS5 and Xbox Series X. Oh, and it's on PC as well, but, you know, so at the moment, I have no plans to get a PS5, but I feel like by 2022, I think this is the first indication of a game that's going to make me go, do you know what? I think I do have to grab my wallet and, you know, get a PS5, because I think, you know, the way they described it, you can play as Deadshot and jetpack around, sniping people, and, you know, furnacing people with his jetpack by leaking fuel. That sounds fun. Harley with her bat, you know, we've already played as Harley Quinn in Arkham Knight, that was fun. Obviously Captain Boomerang looks like he can teleport to different places, so I don't understand how that works, but I mean, obviously his thing will be throwing boomerangs, and, you know, you'll probably be able to upgrade them for explosive boomerangs, just like you did in the Arkham games, where you can upgrade your batarangs to remote control, or double or triple batarangs, do you know what I mean? So you can kind of upgrade your weapons from that. I'm sure they'll have a system like that. King Shark's also in the game as well. They also confirmed that it's single player and multiplayer, so whether you're playing the story single player and, you know, a buddy of yours online wants to join with you, they can just join in whenever they want in the story. I think that's a cool system. I like that. Kind of like what they did with Far Cry 4 and 5. So yeah, I really enjoy that. Right, and now, so Suicide Squad game, yeah, it sounds amazing, looks fun, can't wait to play it. I'm kind of annoyed that we didn't get any gameplay. Like, it was a good 20-minute panel, and I was like, right, here's the reveal trailer, and they're going to do like they did with Gotham Knights, and they're going to show us some pre-alpha gameplay. No, they just did, well, quote-unquote, funny bit for like a good 10 minutes with Will Arnett. It was not funny. I honestly, during that whole segment with Will Arnett speaking to the Suicide Squad, it was so unfunny that I was literally on my phone throughout that entire bit, because I was like, look, this isn't funny. Look, I know what you're trying to do, Will Arnett. It's not funny. Look, this whole piece, it's not working. And it's only until then when he started speaking to the Rocksteady, you know, the guy from Rocksteady, one of the developers, I think the creative director on the project, that I put the phone down and started listening again. But yeah, I was very disappointed with that. But hey, at least we got a sort of vague release date, 2022, so still a bit far out. You know, Gotham Knights comes out next year, 2021 some point, and then what is it, Suicide Squad comes out some point in 2022, probably late in the year 2022, like fall 2022, and that's probably when I'll have to go out and fork out and buy a PS5 to play that game, just like I did with Injustice 2. I actually purposely bought PS4 just to play that game along with Star Wars Battlefront 2, Far Cry 5 and Marvel's Spider-Man. And last but certainly not least, can I just say, what a way to end the show. We got our first look at Matt Reeves's The Batman, and before we even got this trailer, it was a long panel with Matt Reeves, and he really went into detail as to how his Batman is different. So it's year 2, so it's not it's not year 1 like in the comic, but year 2. And he was saying that, you know, it's essentially going to be like the Batman Year 1 comics, where this is a much younger Bruce Wayne. He's only just starting out as Batman. His suit isn't fully fleshed out, you know, it hasn't got all the upgrades and, you know, all that you would normally find Batman having. You know, this is Batman, very much early days of his career, and honestly, it looks amazing. And he was going into detail how it's going to be a sort of crime noir thriller, you know, like a political thriller where, you know, the police are corrupt, and how, you know, the whole of Gotham City is corrupt, you know, from the billionaires that run it to the police, you know, and it's like this whole mystery that not only is Bruce Wayne going to be solving, but he's going to be solving as Batman as well, like, and, you know, it just sounds brilliant, it sounds amazing. And the films that Matt Reeves was mentioning that he took influence from, such as Taxi Driver, you know, he was like, oh yeah, imagine like a film from the 70s like that, you know, like a sort of very crime thriller kind of noir kind of tale that we're telling, because he said this is very much a detective story. And honestly, that's what I've wanted from a Batman film for so long, because, you know, when you go and play the Batman Arkham games, or hell, even if you read a Batman comic, you know, it's not just action fighting crime. Like Batman, he's known, like, there's a reason he has the nickname in the comics and the TV shows for for being the world's greatest detective. You know, because he is a detective as well. You know, he is a super sleuth. You know, he, in the TV show, like in the Batman the animated series, you see him doing detective work. In the comics, you see him doing detective work. I don't think we've ever seen a Batman on film do detective work. You know, the Dark Knight trilogy, as great as it is, and honestly, I still praise to this day Christopher Nolan as a filmmaker, and, you know, those 3 films, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, I love those films, but they didn't show much of Batman's detective side. And this, it's still set in modern day, and he said it's literally going to be a crime thriller, it's going to be a detective, it's a mystery that Batman's solving all throughout this. And the Riddler's the main villain, you know, which again, I've wanted the Riddler as a main villain for a long time, because I feel like with the Riddler, especially in this day and age, he could work as kind of like a sort of, you know, terrorist, like a cyber terrorist, you know, sort of behind the scenes. And like there's a scene in the trailer when Bruce Wayne grabs someone and, you know, ducks for cover, like when the car crashes in and it's a guy, and he's got, like, it looks like, you know, he's got a bomb strapped to his chest and he's about to press it, and it's like, it says, it's got a little note on it, says for the Batman. So it's like the Riddler's kind of trying to lure out the Batman and trying to play mind games with him, and that's good, because that's what the Riddler does. That's, you know, that is the Riddler to his core. And oh my god, and the suit, can we just take a second to admire the suit? I was so worried. I was literally like, when they first unveiled the suit, and I think I saw some leaked set images of the suit, I was like, oh no, this doesn't look, oh no, it doesn't look, it looks, I don't know, it looks kind of like Netflix's Daredevil kind of suit. But then I saw it in live action just now in the trailer, and it looks amazing. Honestly, it looks fantastic. And then at the end of the trailer, sort of near towards the end, when, you know, he goes up to that gang and it's like, who, and one of them's like, who are you supposed to be? And then he just, all of a sudden, the combat, you look at the combat, it's directly straight out of the Arkham games, the style, the quick movements. Because, you know, you look back at, let's say, the Christopher Nolan films again, you know, referring to the Dark Knight trilogy, you look at the fight scenes in that, yeah, they're good, but they're realistic because they're meant to be realistic, you know. And also the suit that Christian Bale was wearing was very clunky, and he couldn't properly turn his neck. So, you know, if he wanted to turn around, he couldn't move his neck, he had to turn the whole suit around. Hence why the combat was a little clunky. But with this, it's full on, you know, it's slim, because Batman, obviously, there's a reason he trained with the, you know, League of Assassins, because literally, he is a ninja. Like, he fights like a ninja. That's why in the Batman Arkham games, his fighting style is so athletic and so quick and brutal. And you see that in this trailer. It's so quick. They've clearly taken, I don't know if they got the stunt or the fight choreography people from John Wick for this film, but it certainly could look like that way. They've literally took the Arkham games. I always said to myself, if I was going to direct a Batman film, there's two things I'd want. I want it to be a detective noir thriller, like a kind of detective mystery. We actually see him doing detective work. And I want the fight scenes to be like in the Arkham video games, because the fight, like the gameplay, the combat in those Batman Arkham games, honestly, is amazing. And to put that on film, it's doable. If someone like Matthew Vaughn, who directed, the Kingsman films, was to do Batman, I reckon, with that kind of fight style, if any of you have watched Kingsman and you know the famous scene in the church, imagine that, but with Batman. That's kind of what I would want to do as a director. And it looks like we're kind of going to get a little bit of that in this film. Maybe not as insanely over the top as like Kingsman with Matthew Vaughn, but enough to where it's like, it's gritty, it's brutal, it's realistic. Oh my god. And yeah, so and this, like I said, and just the way he just beats down on the guy, and it's like, I am vengeance. The Batmobile looks amazing as well, and it honestly, it just looks amazing. The music choice as well, the Nirvana song that they had in the background, it looked amazing. I kid you not, I was watching the trailer, and the whole time I was like, I wasn't watching this as a fan, I was watching this as a filmmaker, and I was like, the cinematography looks amazing, the lighting is amazing, the color palette is amazing, it's grim, it's dark, it's gritty. This is what I want from a Batman film. I want to go back to those sort of Nolan times, because I'm not going to lie, guys, I'm getting a little sick and tired of the sort of Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of films now, because they're getting the same, aren't they? I loved Endgame, I love, all the Marvel films, I always will, but they're getting a bit the same now. It's like joke, joke, pun, pun, funny quip, joke, joke, pun, pun, funny quip every 5 minutes in all of their films. Doesn't matter if you're watching a Captain America film, an Iron Man film, an Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, they all have the same formula. Funny joke, quip, 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 funny joke every 5 minutes. I was like, and in my mind, I'm just like, every time I sit down and watch one of these Marvel films, I'm like, can we just take things seriously for 5 minutes? And with the Batman, it looks like we're going back to that gritty, hardcore, really paying homage to the sort of Frank Miller kind of Batman Year One sort of graphic novels, which honestly, this looks amazing. Robert Pattinson looks amazing as Bruce Wayne. I think he's going to kill it as Bruce Wayne and Batman. I think he's got the physicality down. I think he's got the acting chops down. He's such a great actor. I've seen him in so many films. Obviously, he's coming out in Tenet later this year. It's, he's amazing. And, honestly, everyone who was hating on him before, I reckon it's going to be like the Ben Affleck situation, where honestly, once you see the film, you'll be eating your own words. You'll be like, do you know what? He was great as Batman. He was great as Bruce Wayne. So do you know what? I can't wait for the Batman. And I quickly Googled and I looked up as to when this film comes out. And I believe it comes out October 1st, 2021. And I thought it came out in 2022 because I was really gutted after the trailer. I was like, oh no, we have to wait so long. But no, because I think they've gone back to shooting now, because obviously they had to stop due to the pandemic. But now they've got back to filming. I think they're filming it all in studio now, so we'll have to see how that looks. But so far, it's looking amazing. Honestly, Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon as well. Look, I mean, it's just, it all looks fan-dabadoozy-tastic. I can't wait to watch this. The Batman is now just shot up there to my #1 anticipated film for 2021, along with the Suicide Squad. I honestly think 2021 will be the year that DC beats Marvel. Because honestly, Marvel haven't really got much in terms of competition next year. I think, they've got the Eternals, and I think they might have, Shang-Chi or whatever, but no one knows their new properties, so that's a much harder sell. Whereas when you've got things like Suicide Squad, the Batman, like, people know these properties already, and they look good, like, do you know what I mean? So Marvel really needs to step up their game next year, because so far they are losing hard to DC. Yeah, no, literally, I mean, again, Right, I'm going to probably shut down this video now, because like I said, I'm going to try and keep it as condensed as possible. I knew the Batman talk was going to go on for a long time, because this was my most hyped thing that I took away from DC Fandome. This was the thing that I was like, DC, just take my money now. Honestly, you've got my money. I'm there day one. I am there day one. Alright guys, so that about wraps things up. This has gone on for half an hour now. So like I said, I tried to, because obviously I could have talked for ages about things like Wonder Woman 1984, Shazam, you know, Suicide Squad, the games that they showed, the Batman. Honestly, I could talk for another 20 minutes about this film. I am so looking forward to this. This just looks amazing. Everything looks amazing. You know, just, yeah, honestly, DC, I mean, you pulled out the bag. Honestly, I would say you've outdone Marvel. Do you know what? You are treating the fans so much better than Marvel at the moment. And that's not a diss to Marvel, but that should be a wake-up call to Marvel, being like, wow, we've really got to step up our game now. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, what a time to be alive, to be not just a DC fan, but just a comic book fan in general. You know, we're getting tons of superhero video games, we're getting a lot of great movies, you know, and DC, like, a lot of these films, some of them are in the DCEU, some of them, like, obviously not, like, the Batman's its own thing, yeah, and basically, what is it? That's what I like about DC. With their films, they're approachable. You know, they're not like Marvel, where you have to catch up with 23 other films before you can watch, like, let's say, Avengers Endgame or something like that. No, these are films like the Batman. You can just go in, watch it. You don't have to watch anything. Suicide Squad, even if you haven't seen the first one, you could probably just come into this one, just watch it as its own thing. So I think it's meant to be, even though it's a sequel, I think they're trying to make it sort of like a small, semi-little reboot. Yeah, so, I mean, I honestly, I loved everything that DC showed. So, yeah, tell me, guys, what do you think of DC in the comments below? Also, very quickly, as I was editing this video, I realised that I actually didn't talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League, so the Snyder Cut. So I'll quickly touch on that now. Looks amazing. You know, I'm glad that Zack Snyder's finally getting to fulfill his vision on screen, and judging from the trailer, this looks like a very, very different film to the one I saw in the cinema with my friends 3 years ago, back in November 2017. Whatever Joss Whedon and the studio just butchered that film, didn't they? Yeah, poor Zack Snyder. No wonder he hasn't watched the theatrical cut, because God, mate, that was god awful. Like, looking at this trailer, there's so much. Honestly, this looks like such a completely, well, you know, there's elements, you know, it's not a completely different film, but just there's so much footage that got put on the cutting room floor. And they also confirmed that it's going to be 4 1-hour, you know, episodic pieces on HBO Max, but they also said they're going to try and put it together as a 4-hour film as well. So that's cool as well. So even if you don't want to watch it in an episodic format, I think Zack Snyder was hinting that they're going to release a Blu-ray of it, and it's going to just be a big old 4-hour film, which, do you know what? Do you know what? That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that they've given you those two options. So it's like you can either watch it as a TV show, like an hour of, like each night you can watch 1 hour of the Snyder Cut, or if, you know, you can't wait for it and you want to watch all 4 hours in one go and make it one big, super duper long movie, then yeah, you can just watch it as a 4-hour movie. I love that they're giving you that option. Me, I'll probably try and ride it out. I'll probably just watch it as a 4-hour film, because honestly, I'm a comic book fan. You know, like, again, with Avengers Endgame, that was 3 hours. Didn't feel like 3 hours, because, again, it's source material that I love. Again, Justice League. It's the Justice League. I grew up with the Justice League. I grew up with the cartoon, the comics, the video games, the action figures. I could watch 4 hours of a Justice League film, do you know? The only reason I can't stand it with things like Lord of the Rings and that is because, again, I'm not a massive fan of fantasy and, you know, witchcraft and magic and all that. But with Justice League, I could easily watch a 4-hour cut, Snyder Cut. But anyway, yeah, I can't believe I completely skipped past it. I can't believe I completely forgot to talk about that. That was like one of the big things that DC Fandome were hyping up all week. But yeah, that looks amazing. That looks great. Can't wait to watch it. Yeah, so looks like a completely different film, and whatever Joss Whedon and the studio gave to us, honestly, the studio should be ashamed of themselves. They should have just let Zack complete his vision. You know, even though what happened with his daughter was again, you know, that sucks. That's life. You know, it sucks. And honestly, my heart goes out to him and his family, the whole Snyder family. But I feel like they should have just given Snyder the break he needed and then let him come back and then release Justice League at another time. Because it's not like they had other films coming out later on that would have interfered, you know, with the timeline or anything. I think Aquaman was like the next DCEU film after Justice League, and that was a whole year after Justice League. So it's not like, you know, they were on a time crunch like Marvel, where it's like, okay, if this film doesn't meet its deadline, we've got to push the whole schedule back, because if, you know, after this film comes out, you know, like Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home comes out 2 months after, so you know what I mean. They're not in that kind of state. But yeah, right, anyway, so this really is the end of the video now, guys. So tell me what you thought. DC Fandome, really great event, loved it. Honestly, can't wait to watch all of these films, play all these games, and watch all these TV shows. Honestly, it's amazing. Yeah, so yeah, tell me in the comments, guys. I want to have a conversation. So yeah, this has been your boy Ben Ramsey and DC Fandome, DC in general, Warner Brothers, AT&T. You put on a great show. You put on a really great show.